was a gentleman going by, and he stood there and he just stood there watching it, okay, for a few minutes or so. And then he just turned and he said, "This is great. It shows our heritage, and I'm glad that you are part of this heritage." That, I mean, to me, it's like telling us that you know, it is our heritage, and that we're trying to show it to everybody else in the world. It's involvement of everything, of everybody's ideals and feelings from the heart, you know.
Is last week when we were all, a few of us were over in the middle in the island there, assessing what had to be done, and some homeboys went by, and they said, "It's looking good, man," and they said, "We're from this neighborhood, and nobody's gonna touch this mural." And we just went, "Oh, all right," because that means that protection is virtually guaranteed. So I think that was, and that means that it's that's who I paint for. I paint for the person in the street, the ordinary person. And so when you get that kind of comment, that means you're reaching them, and they're going to look after it. It's theirs. It's no longer our mural. It's no longer working classrooms mural. It never was. It's their mural. That's my favorite comment.
My favorite comment from people on the street is they say it's much nicer to go by here now, And also a lot of the neighborhood people have said that it's a pleasure coming by. I believe this is one of the biggest murals here in Albuquerque, right now anyway. And we've had a lot of homeboys telling us that they will keep an eye on the mural because they don't want it destroyed, messed up, any graffiti on it. So that's kind of encouraging to hear that they're interested in preserving this for their community.
With the process of coming up with the mural, well, that pretty much started with the clinic manager and myself both had the idea that we wanted to do something to make the clinic look nice because it was a very depressing, very drab, very institutional looking building. And around the same time we were beginning to wonder what we could do, some different muralists approached us that had been working in the community. They'd been working with the Broadway Cultural Center, with the Roadrunner Food Bank and places like that. And we talked to them about the possibility of getting a mural, and we eventually settled on Joe. I guess Joe was able to really work with the concept that we had in mind. He was able to understand the needs that we had for this wall. And from there, it just became this beautiful thing you see.
Some of the people in the health center gave ideas. Joe Stevenson, the muralist, he did a lot of research on this project, researching different southwestern healing traditions, African, ancient Aztec healing traditions, and so forth. There was a process that he went through with the staff over here, where they all gave him ideas on as to different ideas as to what they would like to see on the wall. Joe did research it, and he puts his ideas visually on and renders them, and then takes them to the people of the health center, and then they all meet with it again, and then it's a complicated process because there's a lot of adding and subtracting that goes on.
The idea of this mural is healthcare in New Mexico. The idea is to show the history of healthcare, and we use different symbols, the plants, the herbs, as healing medicines, the witch doctors, the Indian doctor here, the Chicana doctor and her baby, examining a baby, and that's what symbols we use, dating back to Greek times. And then we have over here the dancer, symbol. It shows the idea was to use it because it was idea like aerobic exercising to help strengthen the body and give it good health. And then the two hands are also used to symbolize healthcare, and it shows the snake and the T is used as it's a Greek sign dating back to Greece, and the hands are used as it's a female hands are used to show healers, female healers in New Mexico, how they use the herbs, they combine the herbs to make remedies for certain health problems that we suffer here in New Mexico. And this is a symbol of an eagle that was also Joe wanted to show the another side of the culture. So he got this from a Native American, and he just wanted to put it in to also show, to give it some taste, flavor to this mural, bring it of different cultures. So he used different symbols from different periods of time and different people.
Like the bear, the Navajo woman told me that the bear and the eagle represent health. I mean, see, in a mural of this sort, I look for images that are, I invent images as well as put together stuff, but also look, the historical stuff, I look for, you know, an inherent drama in it, as well as something that's historically relevant to the theme. Through consultation with the clinic and the research, you know, it sort of pointed me in a direction. And then once I came up with the main design, after, you know, having it make some changes, you know, they said, no, Joe, we can't show death, because I had some death images in there. They said, no, we don't want death in there. We want it to be more about life. I had a conception scene with a sperm cell and, you know, and an egg. And they said, no, that might cause controversy. So, you know, I mean, again, it's public art, so you have to try and, it's community public art, so you have to try and tailor it to what the community will, what you think they will like after talking with them. So the basic design was mine, but then once it got to the wall, we started getting other inputs from the crew. From the beginning, I wanted to have herbs, different herbs and things that are used in healing. And just last week, we went through this whole other spontaneous process of somebody said, well, what about some butterflies to go along with these plants? And then somebody else said, what about bees and ladybugs and hummingbirds? So all that sort of that was just the input of the crew. And that's what I like. I always like to leave room for improvisation within the theme.
What is that, the darkest ground?
Yeah.
How is this looking, Joe?
Yeah, much better. Yeah. No, that's much better. Okay.
Fading, or it could have even been like a dirty white, would you say?
Yeah.
But very plain. Yeah, the old wall used to get defaced quite often, but I think the fact that you had a lot of the local kids in on the mural, I don't think that they'll want to do anything with it, really. I think it'll probably stay the way it is, and I think it's great that they did it, and I really think the city should back more projects like this.
Yep.
Behind the RX, I was trying to show just the evolution of the shape from one to the other. I mean, if you look at the RX and if you look at the old Eye of Horus, you could see that there's a resemblance, a design resemblance.
Is there any connection with the Roadrunner?
No, the Roadrunner is just New Mexico.
Who volunteered their time and efforts to help make this happen. Do you want to come up, please? Yes. Is Kevin here? These two men volunteered their time for almost the entire length of the mural project and helped to make it the beautiful artwork that it is today. Thank you. I'd like to invite everyone to, stay around and have some refreshments. There's fruit and soda inside. Take your time and look at the mural. We are $5,000 from the hole at the moment, in spite of all